Links to previous episodes are given in the video description, so don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. The Alpha's Orphan Daughter. Episode 4. Chapter 28. Kara's POV. I was a little worried about opening the envelope. It was addressed to me, but it had been spelled. I guess that was why it hadn't been opened before. It still had a wax seal on it, and I knew it had to be from my mother as it had an S imprinted in the wax. I was wondering how long it had been in my father's safe. I was glad that I had something from my mother, but I was nervous to open it. The moment I opened the letter, I could tell my life would change completely. I didn't know how to feel about that. I wanted to know what my mother had sent me. I also wanted to know how long my father had kept this letter from me. I am saddened to know he didn't give it to me after I turned 18. He told me how much I had disappointed him the day I didn't receive my wolf. In his eyes, I was his greatest shame. It hurt me deeply to know that something that was completely out of my control was why he was so disappointed in me. Each and every time he chose to compliment my sisters on their wolves, it cut deep. He had nothing nice to say to me after he knew I didn't have a wolf. He fell in love with a witch and knew I would be a hybrid. This whole situation was not my fault, and yet I have suffered for the sins of my father all these years. He was the one who fell in love with her. He was the one who courted and pursued her until she finally gave in to his assurance that they would be together forever. Apparently forever for my father was until he met his true mate. I was the daily reminder he didn't wait for his mate. The reminder was that he had found someone he wanted and stopped looking for his mate. Nothing in what happened was under my control, but I was the one who suffered because of it. I think the real reason that my father was so angry about me not being a wolf was the luck of being a hybrid. It was rumored that sometimes the child got the strengths of the more powerful one in the couple. That meant the whole pack knew that my mother was more powerful than he was. I knew his pride took it hard, that was why he wrote me off that day. My heart still hurts at seeing the disappointment in his eyes when he said, "I should have let you leave with your mother. I am through accepting scraps of affection. I have done that my whole life." That pack had hurt me from the moment I could understand that, in their eyes, I was not acceptable. That since I wasn't a wolf, I shouldn't be in their pack. That my sisters were better than me because their mother was a wolf and not a filthy witch. I was done with people who could not accept me for who I was. I knew I wanted to be stronger, and I knew in my heart that opening the letter was my first step toward becoming stronger. "Kara, we have a witch that lives in our pack. She might be able to help you out. It couldn't hurt to ask her to help you to learn about your heritage and background." Alexei and some of his people found her being attacked by rogue vampires. There was an old rumor that drinking from a witch could give you some of their power. It wasn't true, but vampires are very leery of witches as witches are usually stronger than they are. She appreciated Alexei rescuing her, but she was too scared to live in his coven after that, so she lives here, Raven stated. I looked at Alexei, wondering what his opinion would be of me if I got powers. He must have misread the expression on my face. Some of the rogues in the group that chased her were also rescued and allowed to stay and live in the coven. Not all of the group was bad, it was just the two main leaders of the group. They had sired some of the fledglings. That is what we call it when you turn someone into a vampire. I can understand why she would not want to live there with them. They had chased her for days, but there have been no issues with the 3 we took in, Alexei told me. I was just wondering if you will have a problem with me being your mate because I am a witch. Raven just said that vampires have issues with witches. I don't want to cause issues in your coven, especially if they have preconceived opinions about witches, I replied. It wouldn't matter if they did. My team will not have a problem or issue with you. Not at all. They were happy that I had found my mate, and they still hope they will meet their mates soon. There will only be one who might have an issue. One of the fledglings that we took in. She took an instant liking to me, which I did not encourage. I am not interested in her, but she has been here for the last 3 years and still flirts with me whenever she sees me. I have her on night patrol and try to avoid her as much as possible. I hope you will allow me to turn you one day so that we can live out our days together. It will also keep you safer around her. I have not announced it to the whole coven yet. I wanted to keep you safe. I also didn't know if you would accept a vampire as your mate, Alexei assured me. He was almost whispering when he got to the last sentence. I could tell that he was worried about my answer. I hadn't really given him one before, but knowing that he went out there and did a number on Clay told me what I needed to know about him. He was my protector. He seemed to already care about me, and I would be a liar if I didn't admit that I was also drawn to him as well. I do feel a pull towards you, Alexei, from the moment I woke up and saw you here with me. I don't know what it will entail to become a vampire, but let's see how things go. I don't want to rush into anything just yet. I just arrived yesterday, and we haven't even known each other a day yet. I can tell you that I have never been more connected to anyone before. So, I have to assume we are meant to be together. It is not an accident that we ended up here at Blackadder. I have to assume forces beyond our control wanted us to arrive here. There had to be a purpose for Ivan's visions. Just give me a little while to learn more about becoming a vampire. I believe Cheryl can help me with that, I answered. I watched as he let out the breath he was holding. He had been scared that I was not going to accept him. That let me know that his feelings for me were very serious. I felt his hand squeeze mine, making my heart beat faster. I got the feeling from him that no matter what, he would always support me, even against his own coven members. I knew in the back of my head that the girl he had mentioned would probably be a problem for me. She had probably been chasing him for a while now, and she would not like me just showing up and taking him away from her. Even if that was not what was happening here. I am almost positive that is how she is going to see it. I really don't want to have to deal with her. But it would be worth it to have a man who loves me, all of me, even the parts I don't love myself. His love for me shines in his eyes, and he is happy to have found me. I would like to speak to the witch, Raven. I want to get my training started as soon as possible. I don't want to be a sitting duck for my competition for Alexei's heart, I announced. There is no competition for my heart. It is already yours. I belonged to you before you even arrived. I have no interest in her at all. It is only you that I want. You can believe me when I tell you that. You are my present and my future, Kara. I have never looked forward to what the future might hold for me so much in my life. You have made my life worth living, and I can't give you up. Your happiness is what matters to me most. You can't even begin to imagine what you mean to me, but I hope you will one day, Alexei told me. Alexei had me tearing up as emotions that I thought I had bottled up came back to the surface with a vengeance. I never thought that I would have someone to profess to me like that. I was admired for my looks, but it was never acceptable for any of the wolves in Kamaria to claim me. They would have been bullied, too, if they had decided to do that. According to them, I was the pack member who never should have existed. I opened the letter to avoid anyone noticing the embarrassing tears falling down my face. I wanted to read what my mother had sent me. I hoped it would clear up a few things. My dearest daughter, I am so sorry to have to leave you behind, but know that I never wanted to. I loved you from the moment you arrived, my precious girl. I knew that you were never going to have a wolf. I sensed your power from the moment you were born. I knew you would someday be a powerful witch. I bound your powers to keep you safe. You were safer with the pack, assuming that you were not a threat to them. Just know that I never wanted to leave you there. Your father refused to listen to or believe me when I told him you would not be a wolf. His pride was hurt that I would not just stay behind for him when he still wanted me. He wanted me to return to my cottage, so he could control me, which was the primary reason he wanted to keep you. He took what was most precious to me away. He vowed to hunt us both down and kill us if I took you with me when I left. I did what I did to protect you, Kara. I hope he treated you well, but I doubt that is what happened. I know your father very well. I lived in that pack for over 2 years. I was an outcast, treated like a pariah. I had daily reminders that I would never be accepted in his pack. He broke my heart to pieces the day he came home with his true mate. Taking you away from me made sure that it could never be put back together. I can only pray that your father will give you this letter. It will alert me the moment you open it, as it is spelled. If I am still alive, I will be with you very soon. Your loving mother, say Ireswell. I didn't see that coming. Kara's POV. I don't know if you'll like this, but we may have a guest coming. Apparently, my mother spelled this letter. It was like a beacon for my location when I opened it. I don't know how long it will take for her to get here. But she is coming, I announced to the group. I am stunned. I didn't expect this to happen. I actually got upset at reading the part about if I am still alive, as I realized that I really needed her to be alive. Very much so, I wanted to get to see her and spend time with her. Tears are building up again in my eyes at the thought of her not coming. She is supposed to be a powerful witch. How is she not here already? I just mind-linked my ranked wolves to let them know that we may be having an unexpected visitor. They will alert the warriors. She may appear at the gate, or inside the pack. I don't want my men to get hurt if she believes that you are still in the Kamaria pack, Jackson announced to the room. I am sure he wanted to go and check and make sure that there were no problems inside the pack. I know exactly where I am, dear. Thanks for the concern, a strong voice rang out in the room as my door was pushed open. It was very clear that she was my mother. She hadn't aged a day since I was born. She was still as beautiful as she was in the pictures I had in the duffel bag. I let out a sob as she crossed the room quickly to come and hug me. Alexei stood up and watched her carefully. Jackson was also watching her carefully. I guess it is not that often a witch manages to infiltrate a wolf pack. My darling, I am so happy to get to see you, my mother said before hugging me again. I could tell how much she missed me. Her hugs were tight as if I would disappear if she didn't hold me close. I missed you too, I sobbed out. I didn't realize just how badly I had missed her all these years. Alpha Jackson, thank you so much for taking care of my daughter. I very much appreciate your pack being so accepting of her. Most packs aren't as, how shall I say it, progressive as yours. I would have come straight into the room, but I sensed it was full. Plus, I didn't want to take the chance on the vampire attacking me if I just popped in without warning. He is very attached to you, Kara. I don't usually condone mixing species, probably because it really didn't work out well for me. But I like him. He cares for you, and that is all I wanted for you. Someone to love and care for you. I took a little extra time to read the room before I entered. I needed to know what I was getting myself into and make sure it wasn't a trap, my mother advised. I have to say that I am impressed. You got here very quickly, and I feel the power coming from you. I hope that you understood when you read the room that none of us are a threat to your daughter. We are very accepting of other species in our pack. As long as there is no intent to harm a pack member, that is, without cause. I am sure there will be some jealous girls getting their feelings hurt when they find out that Brenna is their Luna. It never fails for that to happen, and I hope I am there to witness it when she puts them on their asses, Raven replied. Thank you for accepting me here, Luna Raven. I truly appreciate you allowing me to be here. I want to request permission to stay inside your pack and train my daughter here. I need a spot of land. It can even be in the forest if that is more convenient for you. I don't need much room. I can pop up what I need in about a minute. I just need your pack to be alerted that I am here. I don't want to cause problems here with pack members thinking that I am trespassing here or a threat to them. I don't want anyone to try to attack me. I don't think that they will be happy with a witch here, Sayers replied. I am no longer the Luna here. Jackson has found his mate, and Brenna is the new Luna for Blackadder. It is up to them to decide who can or can't stay here, but we do have a witch living here on our pack land, Raven replied with a smile. Ah, yes. I also wanted to thank Brenna and Luna personally. I owe you two so much. I know that you were the ones who got my daughter out of that horrible pack. I am so very sorry that they killed your parents. I want to sit down with you both and talk. I know I can never replace your parents, but let me know if you need anything from me. You took care of Kara when I couldn't. You even went against your father's wishes to do so for the last 5 years. I am happy to care for you both for the rest of your lives. Take these. Sayers stopped talking momentarily to remove 3 necklaces from her pocket. She handed one to me and the other 2 over to Brenna and Luna. If you ever need me, just press your thumb against the back of the crystal and think of me. This is a clear quartz crystal. It will let me know that you need my help. I will come straight to wherever you are. It will act as a transmitter, and the crystal also amplifies the range. No matter where I am, I will know you need me. I promise I will be there for all of you. If at all possible, I would like to meet your resident witch, Sayers told us with a smile. Sayers, you don't have to give us anything. Kara is our sister. We love her. We didn't do it for any other reasons than those. We disagreed with what Dad did to Kara when she turned 18. He could have reacted better to it and not allowed Kara to be bullied. But there is nothing that we can do to change it now. They raised us that way. They always reminded us that we were sisters from the moment we were born. Mom may not have loved Kara as much as she loved us. But she did take care of her. The older we got, the more we understood how jealousy played a part in it. They made mistakes, but they never punished us for defending our sister. No matter who we annoyed off doing it. I think deep down they realized that forcing you to leave Kara there was the wrong decision. One that it was too late to correct. I think Mom understood it first after she became a mother herself. They messed up, but no one is perfect or without flaws. I know that I speak for both my sister and myself when I say we would do it all over again in a heartbeat to save our sister, Brenna replied. I know that, and your parents took very good care of you for the last 21 years. 19 for Luna, Sayers said with a wink towards Luna. Just give me the same amount of time to do the same for you. I knew some of what Kara went through at Kamaria. I had wanted to protect her, but I had sworn to James that I would leave his precious pack alone. He forced me to swear I wouldn't do anything to harm anyone there. He thought I would return and get rid of your mother to try to get him back. He didn't want Kara to pay the price for my actions if I had attacked Kamaria. I didn't want James back after what he did to me. He pursued me daily for over a year, telling me how much he loved me. I found myself falling in love with him and accepted him. I trusted him when he said he would love and care for me forever. I never knew he was lying to me. I haven't been able to trust anyone else for the last 21 years. Kara is the highlight of my life. I am over 100 years old, but I would go through all the pain again to have her. How long do you want to stay here, Sayers? Do you have a time frame in mind? Or did you want to play it by ear? Jackson asked. I honestly don't know, Alpha Jackson. If everything goes well, I would like to ask you to live here near my daughter. That way, we can see if this will work out. I don't want to miss out on spending time with my daughter or my potential grandchildren. I don't know if that would be a possibility or not. I do not want to just assume that I would be welcome here. I can just put up a small temporary shelter for me to stay in by using my powers. If it would make you feel better, we can do this as a trial living situation. That way, it gives you time for you to confer with your parents and your Luna to see how they feel about it. I don't want to impose upon you, especially with a vampire coven in close proximity, Sayers replied. I didn't want to call her mom just yet. I feel like we need to talk more about what happened. I knew Dad had threatened her. Did he make her promise not to go against the pack before he forced her out? Is that why she had to leave me behind? For both our safety? I knew who my father was now. He was not the same sweet man who tucked me in at night and spoke nicely to me. Or at least he wasn't that man anymore. Not once he found out I didn't have a wolf. It suddenly hit me, Dad did the same thing to me that he did to Mom. I was dead to him once I didn't fit his vision of a proper daughter. Once he found his true mate, he cut Mom off without giving her time to grieve the loss of their relationship. A relationship he pushed on her. He pursued her, that was a pride thing then, too. He considered my mother to be the best of the best until he met his mate. Then, my mother was suddenly disposable. It worries me, as Alexei is pursuing me. How can I know if he is going to be like my father? Will he show himself as a good man until I accept him? Wait for me to let my guard down and then flip the switch on me. I don't want to sign up for what my mother had to put up with. I don't want to give someone my heart only for them to crush it under their heel 10, 20, or 50 years later. I want someone who will love me. Someone who wants to be with me until death do us part. Is that too much to ask? Robert's POV. Something is up. I can feel it. I needed to check the perimeter and see what it was. Paxton and his group finally left just before dusk about 30 minutes ago. I had the patrols increased for the next 24 hours. We all felt he wouldn't just leave and let it go. I know him, well, I don't know Paxton in particular, we just met. But I know men like him. He is not planning on giving up. He will not leave here without trying to get the injured girl back. I already knew which one he wanted because he was annoyed at me when I tried to check out her wounds. I can feel it in my bones that he won't be leaving here without her. I was trying to figure out how he would do it, as he doesn't have a whole lot of options right now. There are only 3 of them total, so I think that he will come in over the fence in a specific place and have his men go to cause a commotion in another area. He is probably just waiting for it to get really dark before he attempts to head to the hospital. Paxton was annoyed, and he is not the brightest alpha that I have met. I know that he is okay with coming back onto our pack land. He had already trespassed onto our land earlier and was currently thinking with his little brain. Goddess only knows what he is thinking. I can tell that whatever is about to happen is going to happen very soon. What Paxton doesn't realize is that Kara is not alone. He can only wait about an hour or 2 max, before he gets scented by a patrol. I told Blaine to turn the motion sensors on early and tell me if he sees when Paxton gets here. I will have some of our warriors tail him at a distance but not tip him off. I want him to get to her room. I want him to see her with Alexei. I will be there before him and give everyone a heads up. I will also ensure that he remembers what we told him would happen if he returned here. 20 minutes ago, Jackson had us on high alert, then suddenly cancelled it, calling an all clear. But for the last 5 minutes, my wolf has been really agitated. Echo knows something is about to happen. I think Paxton has already crossed the fence and is already in our pack. Blaine, start checking the perimeter cameras and see if he already came over the fence before we turned the sensors on. I think he is already in here. Let me know if he did. I am heading to the hospital now, I told Blaine. He is a whiz with the cameras. They are always recording, even if the sensors are not always on. The sensors help notify us quickly if someone comes over the wall, and we usually only use them at night, as we can see further during the day. I slipped off my t-shirt and shorts and phased into my wolf. I am not going to allow that to hurt any of the women we are protecting. What is wrong with that guy? He clearly doesn't know when just to let things go. He is going to deserve the beating that he is about to get. I didn't know where he was, so I decided to go ahead and mind-link Jackson as I headed to the hospital. I have a strong feeling that Paxton is inside our pack. It is just a gut feeling, but I am letting you know that I am heading to the hospital now. Blaine is now checking the cameras to verify. I just wanted you to know, in case he just popped up at Kara's room, I told Jackson through our link. Let him come. Alexei will make short work of him. Kevin is here, and so am I. Liam and Dexter are standing guard outside the door. But I would almost like to see him try to get to Kara, Jackson linked back. That was a surprise. I wonder if Paxton has annoyed him off so badly that he wants to beat him up? Or the fact that Paxton might run into a room filled with strong alpha males and end up making a mistake he can't escape. I ran faster, my dark brown wolf eating up the distance between the front gate and the hospital. I stayed just inside the treeline as I ran. I was a dark brown all over, except for my two front paws, which were lighter and almost tan in color. I still get teased occasionally by the guys calling me socks. But I actually like the fact I have them. It makes my opponents underestimate me, and that is a fatal mistake. I heard Blaine's voice in my head, you were right, Robert. Paxton came over the wall about 15 minutes ago. He is probably waiting until dark to slip into the hospital. I am sending about 10 warriors to the hospital, but I will understand if you want to do the honors yourself. I can see his men waiting in their SUV. They are parked about a mile away, parked on the side of the road. They are clearly waiting to pick him up and take off. I have no idea how they think they will get Kara out of here. I don't think they thought this through. I will let Jackson know. They didn't think it through, but I will let Alexei have the first shot at him. If he doesn't want it, it will be my pleasure to remind Paxton that he doesn't need to come back again, I replied as I raced towards the hospital. I haven't scented him yet, but I knew he would be antsy and ready to follow his plan. I wanted to see his face when he opened the door to her room. He had no idea that so many fighters were already there. We can't kill him, but we can tune him up a little. I slowed down and stayed in the tree line as I started looking for Paxton. I finally saw him sitting about 10 feet up in a tree on the opposite side of the road. He was concealed very well in the leaves, but I was looking for his light blue shirt. He was very close to the hospital now and was just waiting for a good time to strike. He honestly thinks he can sneak in here without us knowing. He did. I was the one that let you know that he was here, Echo's voice sounds in my head. Okay, you knew. We seem to have a sixth sense when it comes to Paxton. I don't like him either, Echo, I linked him back. He agreed with my words and faded back into my mind. I phased into my human form and quickly changed into my clothes. Robert, I wanted you to know that Monty said he had a visual on Paxton. When I filled Jackson in, he said to send a tracker, not the warriors. He didn't want to spook Paxton into making a mistake. If you want to enter through the emergency entrance, you can surprise him in the room. Monty said after he entered the hospital that he would follow along behind him at a distance to keep you updated on where he was. Blaine mind-linked me. That is a great idea. I am going in. I would be glad to see his face when he finds out that we knew he was there. I might take a picture to share it with everyone. I don't know. Maybe I will make a meme out of it. That would be hilarious, I replied and had to stop my chuckle at the thought of it. Paxton would lose him if we disrespected him like that. Even the werewolf world knows about what goes on in the human world. We share memes ourselves. As I head for Kara's room, I think about the surprise that will be on his face when we bust him. I am so going to make him go viral. Monty is one of our best trackers. He won't lose him, so I don't have to worry. I started to plan what we need to do to him. Jackson already told him that he was going to consider any further action or violation from Paxton to be an act of war against us. So a message needs to be sent with this. It needs to be something that he can't hide from his pack. They need to know what he has done to the women he was chasing and what he did to their parents. I know that Jackson will think of something. We can't just let him waltz out of here without punishment for his actions. I stopped to talk to Liam and Dexter, who were standing at the door to Kara's room. I told them what was up and that we could allow him to enter the room, but we would stop him from exiting it. Jackson wanted us to allow Paxton to get inside the hospital room as well. It proved intent and that he had returned to our pack again to take Kara. I didn't know what Jackson was up to, but it was my job to follow his orders. I just hid in the closet behind the nurse's desk, leaving the door open for me to look through. Once Paxton goes in, I will come out. I knew that my mother was still in the room. I knew the former alpha couple was in there with Justin. I knew that both Jackson and Kevin were in there with their mates. I couldn't send him, but I knew Alexei was also in there with Kara. Counting Kara, there were 10 people in that room. I don't know what they plan on doing, but it is hard to hide 10 people for long. I was ready to go as soon as Paxton showed up. I figured he would be turning tail and running away quickly after that. I watched as Paxton came down the hallway. He had a white coat on and had a clipboard in his hand. He actually looked like a doctor, and I was surprised to see that he had thought of it. I mean, he didn't strike me as very smart, but I guess that observation may have just been about the actions I knew of. Clearly, he can have good ideas, too. His trespassing on our pack land again wasn't one of his good ideas. I am here to check on my patient, he confidently told Liam and Dexter, like he belonged there. They stepped aside to let him enter the room. He thanked them as he entered the room. I didn't see anyone as the door opened, but I knew they were still in there. I slipped out of the storage closet and headed for the door myself, with Liam and Dexter both entering behind me to block the door. Nothing could have prepared me for what I saw when I entered the room. I am sure Paxton will be very sorry this time for attempting to come and take Kara again. Jackson's POV. I kept everyone updated about Paxton's location after I broke the news that he had returned to the pack to try to take Kara. Alexei was more angry than I had ever seen him before. He wanted to kill Paxton, but I can't let him do it. Trespassing onto my pack land was not a big offense to kill him, no matter how annoying he was. Kara placed her hand on his arm, and he calmed down, but the anger never left his eyes. Sayers was watching them carefully and smiled. I think she is perfectly accepting of Alexei being with her daughter. I can deal with him if you just want him hurt but not dead, Brenna told me. I knew she could sense that I was trying to figure out the appropriate level of punishment for him. It was a fine line as I knew that the council didn't want me to take any real action towards him. But they were warned to get the message across to him. I am positive that they did. They just didn't realize how entitled Paxton truly was. They knew how dangerous the situation was getting between us. They knew I was serious when I told them I was willing to go to war. He knew, and yet he still did what he wanted to. No, love. I was going to let Alexei decide if he wanted to have a go at him, but I am worried that once he starts, he might not be able to stop, I replied and looked at Alexei, the question still showing in my eyes as I waited for him to respond. You are right. I will not be able to stop myself. I want his head over his intentions toward my mate. I will not be letting him go, Alexei replied. Kara held his hand, and I could see that the bond between them was getting stronger. Robert is already here and waiting for him. I am sure that Robert will not mind dealing with him. The question is, how far do I need to tell him to go? I do not mind declaring war on Kamaria. That is not the issue. The issue is that I don't want the council to note us as the aggressor in this. Trespassing is a low-level punishment. It is the attempted kidnapping that will allow us to deal with Paxton. He has no legal right to be here, nor can he force Kara to return to his pack. But I don't know what the proper punishment should be. I must send a strong message here, as he was repeatedly warned. I also don't need to push the council to side with Paxton for any reason. It is a fine line that I have to walk here. He is the one who is breaking the law, not me, but this is a first for me, I told the room. I needed input. I wanted to do this right and get that done, so I needed input from my father, Justin, and Kevin. I can see that they are all thinking about the route we need to take when Kara's mother steps forward. I believe I can help with this, Sayers advised. I don't want to get you involved in this. You just arrived, and no offense, we don't really know you yet. If we go too far, the council will be on us. I am just trying to protect my pack. I do not want them to try to impose a punishment or a fine. That will take resources away from us. I was going to have Robert get a few blows in on him. Paxton will heal quickly from it, and I know Robert would be fine to do that. Paxton has been baiting him since he arrived. But I think that will have to be it. I would love to beat him to a pulp for what he did to our mates. All of them deserve it, but I would prefer that to come from the council after their investigation. A stronger message may cause even more issues for us, and we haven't done anything wrong, I replied. I know that you don't know me yet and that trust is earned. That goes both ways between us. I know I just popped in on you, which is actually a good thing. They do not know that I am here yet. I haven't been here very long either, which gives us some wiggle room. You can just say that Kara just opened the letter, and I showed up. It is still the truth. Forget about the last 20 minutes. I can deal with them, all three of them, and take them back home myself and dump them on their doorstep. I swear to you that I won't permanently injure any of them. I want them to be punished by the council, too. So, that will be my second mission. Ensure they find evidence linking the one who carried it out to the rest of them. They need to pay for what they plan to do. They also need to pay for what they put my daughter through. Especially these last 5 years, Sayers said. Are you sure you can do it without permanently hurting them? We both know why Paxton wants her back. Can you deal with them and not get your revenge? I asked her. This is going to be a serious test. Because if she goes too far, it can, and will, come back onto me and Blackadder. I can wait for the investigation to be completed. I will enjoy watching as Paxton and his men get their ranks stripped from them and are put to death themselves. They deserve it. I might even volunteer to carry out their sentences myself, Sayers said with a smile. Okay, I will let you do what you want to do in this. Please do not kill any of them tonight. Paxton just entered the hospital, so he will be here in the next few minutes, I replied. I have got it, don't worry. Raven, would you and Cheryl stand in the far left corner of the room? You record what happens. This way, you will have deniability for the pack. Everyone else stands on the wall behind the door. That way, when he walks in, he won't see you. Alexei, you can stay and sit by Kara on the bed. He will probably expect you here anyway. Kara, I will need for you to get the letter back out and read it when they start to record. That will help explain my presence here. We need to catch him by surprise, Sayers ordered everyone around. Now we wait, Sayers said as she stepped close to the far wall directly across from the door. The next instant, she disappeared. I didn't know if she was now invisible or if she just left to come back after Paxton arrived. I did not know what she was going to do. She is protecting her daughter and the pack. She is carrying it all on her if hits the fan. I appreciated her doing this, but I didn't want her to get into trouble either. I mind-linked Chase and Sasha, who had just arrived in the dining room. We were about to go down to eat when we found out that Paxton was on our land. I knew that she was going to take the fight outside. She will have to draw them all in to take them back to their pack. I need you two to get to the gate as soon as possible. We are about to have an incident. Do not attack the witch. She is with us, I told them. They both responded with which, before I got we're on the way from just Chase. I knew that I could count on them. I don't prank my siblings. They knew I was serious. I had Blaine ask for 2 vehicles to be brought to the front of the hospital for us. I didn't mind running in my wolf form, but I didn't want my mate to bear it all in front of Paxton and his friends. Let alone be recorded when she phased back at the gate. According to my warrior, he will be here in 1 minute. Alexei, you stay behind with Kara to protect her. We won't know until we get to the gate if another one of his men has slipped in with him, I told him. Of course, you didn't even have to ask. It is my job to take care of Kara. I won't let anyone hurt her. Just so you know, if another one of his men shows up here, I will kill them. I know you can't kill Paxton because he is the alpha, but a second attempt to take her will result in instant justice. Especially if it is Clay, Alexei told us. I could see that he was ready to do just that. I hope Paxton was the only one who was dumb enough to cross over our borders. We all stood there quietly as Mom and Cheryl started recording on their cell phones. You could hear a pin drop, and the only sound was from Kara opening the letter from her mother. A little over a minute later, the door swung open, and Paxton confidently entered the room. That was dressed like he belonged here. I can't believe he had the nerve to do that. Kara was on the 2nd floor. I guess that was how he planned to get her out of here. He couldn't drop her out the window, they don't open. I guess he was planning on carrying her out of there by faking an emergency to take her out of here. He didn't even see my mom or Cheryl. His eyes went right to the bed, to Kara. He saw Alexei after the fact. Look, I don't want any problems with you. I am just here to get Kara. Bloodsuckers can't fall in love anyway, so back off. She is mine, and I am taking her back to where she belongs, Paxton told him. Not gonna happen, Paxton. I will never let you touch Kara again. The best thing you can do is try to leave now before you are caught, Alexei replied. Too late, Sayers said as she reappeared right before Paxton. I could see the fear on Paxton's face as he realized exactly who she was very quickly. He took one step back and was about to turn to leave when he froze. Sayers lifted her hand a little more, and he rose in the air, his feet dangling above the floor. His hands were trying to wrap around whatever invisible force was lifting him up. From the way her hand was held, I believe that she had him in a chokehold, which explains why he was not talking. His body moved as he tried to get out of her grip. I will take this one to the gate and deal with him and his men. Go ahead and call them to meet you, Paxton. I know they are out there. They are waiting to help their alpha. If you don't, I will just deal with you, Sayers told him. I got chills hearing the anger in her voice. In a second, they were gone. We need to get to the gate now. I don't want her to take it out just on Paxton. She might be mad enough to actually kill him. Sayers' POV. I have this little creep by the throat, but I am really struggling not to end him. I knew his intent in coming here, and this disgusting little bug needs to be crushed. I can see everything he has done to her over the years. I knew it was bad, but I honestly didn't know it was as bad as this. I looked through his memories while I had him in my grasp. I just realized that I may have lied when I told Jackson that I could do this without seriously hurting him. I have not had time to speak to my daughter about what she has gone through, but I will do that soon. I can still search her memories even if she doesn't want to tell me. I was scared to do it now. I was scared that I would see just how much she had suffered after James threw me out of the pack. Well, that promise I made to him is no longer valid. It was to protect his mate and his children. Kamaria Pack is now fair game, and I am going to make sure they suffer for what they did to my daughter. I took him to the gate. I dropped him as soon as we got there. I knew he was about to pass out. He needed air to tell his men to come here and get him. I wanted them to come and help him. I could still get to them myself, but why waste my time? When I looked around, I saw they had full security at the front gate, which meant cameras. I won't do anything to get Blackadder in trouble with the council. I will deal with these assholes once I get them back to their pack. I can't leave them without a parting shot, but that doesn't mean I won't have a little fun with them first. Link your friends to come get you, now, I told him. I knew that Jackson's family members were the two people who were standing nearest me. I could feel they were safe, so I wasn't worried about them being behind me. Plus, I am not the run-of-the-mill witch. I am the witch. I could deal with anyone who tries to stop me, but I am building a relationship with both Kara and this pack. I couldn't risk going too far here tonight. I forced myself to calm down as I waited. I knew that he had told them to come as I could hear Paxton's friends pulling up to the gate now. The two additional security fences were out of the way, the scrolled gate was the only one that was currently in place. There was the sound of two more SUVs coming from behind me, and I could tell that they were heading this way quickly. I knew that would probably be the rest of the group from the hospital. I gave myself another reminder that I needed to stay calm, no matter what they said. Paxton is still where I dropped him, on his knees on the ground. He saw me when I manifested myself in front of him. He knows exactly who I am, and he has a right to be scared. I am sure that his own parents had probably drilled that fear into him. He should know he deserves anything I give him tonight. His men exited their SUV and walked to the gate to look for Paxton. I waited until Jackson and his family had parked and walked over to where we were before I began. Paxton, why are you here tonight? Before you lie, just know that I am completely aware of your actual intentions here, I asked him. He was annoyed and looked like he would never respond to my question. I wanted Kara. She belongs to me. She is to be the mother of my pups. She was always supposed to be mine, even if she is a witch, Paxton admitted. I was honestly surprised that he had told the truth. I would have exposed him if he hadn't, but I can skip that step for now. This is not the night that justice gets served. But that doesn't mean I will let any of them go without punishment. Glad to see that you can tell the truth when forced to, I told him as I walked around him. I stayed silent for a little while as I walked around him. It was just to intimidate him, and from the looks of it, it was working perfectly. This is not my first time punishing someone. The closer I get to him, the more I sense his weaknesses and fears. He really wished he had left now. He hates me having him here like this. He would love nothing more than to jump up and attack me in his wolf form. But he is holding back because his wolf knows that they can't beat me. Even if all three of them were to try to do so at the same time, they would not be successful. Paxton, I am getting the distinct impression that you are not welcome here. Were you trespassing to try to grab my daughter? Were you planning on taking her against her will? Let me guess, back to your pack, by any chance? I asked. I already admitted that. Look, I made a mistake. But I didn't want to let her go. How else was I going to get her? Jackson wasn't going to let her go. He kept my pack members away from us. We wanted to return all three of them, but we were scared that the other two had already been marked. It is against our laws to take true mates away from each other. But Kara is a witch. She doesn't have a true mate, Paxton admitted. And mated, Brenna called out. Why would you take her back to Kamaria? She has already suffered enough. Why would you take her back to suffer more? Especially at the hands of your chosen mate? I asked him. Before he could reply, one of his men started yelling through the fence. How could you, Brenna? You were supposed to be mine. I wanted you, I have for years. This just freaking met you. Why couldn't you just accept me? Rex cried out. Open the fence and let him in, I asked. The gate guards looked at Jackson for approval before the gate slowly opened. I could have just taken out the middleman in it and lifted them both over the fence, but I decided to be polite. I am on their turf, and I am really trying to be sensitive to their pack. Also, I don't need them to know what kind of power I hold. It can always be used against you if you're not careful. Are you serious? I don't like you, Rex. I don't want you, and I never did. I have told you this many times before. I only wanted my mate, and you were well aware of that. It was why you were so mad at my father, Brenna replied before going quiet. She had to stop speaking before she accidentally gave them a heads up that they didn't need to have. We didn't need anyone to interfere with the investigation. Are you already marked too, Luna? Clay's voice rang out in a hopefully. We could all hear that he was really wishing she wasn't. She is, Kevin replied for her, pulling her closer to his side. I don't understand it either. Why couldn't you accept me as your chosen mate? Clay asked in a hurt tone. I didn't want to be with you, Clay. You and your buddies will never settle down. You want us now, but we both knew that it was a matter of time before you got bored with us and found a side piece. That is the danger of being a chosen mate instead of a true mate. Why would I want to sign myself up for that kind of pain voluntarily? I don't love you, and I don't even care for you. We know how you three are. That kind of life was not the life that we wanted to live. A life without choice, forced to be with men who only value us for our appearance. Beauty fades, and all that is left when it does is who we are at our core. You don't understand, I can see that. You guys don't know us. You never did, Luna replied. They looked shocked at what she said to them, which was almost comical. She told them the actual reason, but they refused to see it. They will never admit that they wanted women that they shouldn't get. I know it must have been a huge blow to their egos, but they will never understand what they meant. The confusion that is now on their faces over her explanation is almost sad. Exactly, Luna. We never wanted to settle. We wanted our mates. There is nothing better than finding your true mate. I feel bad for anyone who is your true mate. I can't imagine you three being able to stop what you have been doing for the last several years. I pity them as I cannot imagine entering a pack with so many she-wolves, knowing firsthand how my mate was in bed. How humiliating would that be, Brenna stated. Shut up. Just shut up, Brenna. Lisa never minded what I did, Paxton spit out in anger. Lisa wanted to be your Luna, and she did whatever she needed to do to make that happen. She was the worst to Kara, yet you let her do it without punishment. Why would you think that Kara will fall into your arms with all the crap you have done and allowed others to do to her? Brenna fired back. I saw her back stiffen up after her response to Paxton. She blurted in anger to defend her sister, but I had already seen some of the show when I looked into his mind. I know she stopped short because of me. That is part of the reason that I wanted to talk to them. I am going to drop a hammer on Kamaria, but first, I need to know how heavy I need to make it. I already knew, Brenna. Do not worry. I am not going to end them, not yet, that is. I was letting them say their goodbyes before I took them back home, I responded. I knew they were very tense right now. They will probably come back one day, but it won't be soon. I will make sure of that. I am not leaving without Kara, Paxton started to tell me. Oh, you aren't willingly leaving without Kara, but you are leaving. Let me assure you, there is a difference. You don't have a choice in the matter, I told him. I raised my hands up and brought the three of them up in the air. They were scared, and the fear radiated off of them. Any last words? I asked and smiled as their fear increased. Paxton's POV. I thought she was dead. I knew who she was the moment she appeared. She looked just like Kara. The resemblance was uncanny. After Sayers left, James assured us that she was gone forever. We all thought that he had killed her, and that was why she never returned. My father was worried for years about her return, but once it reached the 15-year mark, we were all convinced that she was dead. So when Kara turned 18 the next year and didn't phase, she caught hell. Beta James took back his support for his own daughter. Once that was known, the last few months of school were awful for her. She made it because her younger sisters suddenly took up the slack. It had been over 20 years, and I never thought twice about her mother returning. Things improved a little for Kara until she graduated. She had to work in the pack, as we all had to have jobs to make sure the pack ran smoothly. Lisa amplified her hostility towards Kara at that time. She made sure that at least once a month, Kara was hurt, not a nick or scrape, but seriously hurt. She didn't heal like we did, it took a lot longer for her to heal from an injury. What kind of mom would allow what was happening to Kara to continue? It was one of the reasons I didn't fear pursuing Kara. How dare she choke me and demand I call my men to come to get me? My throat still hurt. Her grip on me got progressively tighter the longer she held onto me. She may not have physically put her hands on me, but she choked me. I wanted to rip her apart, but she didn't give me any time to regain my strength. I had been horrified to see her in Kara's room. The fire I saw shining in her eyes made me realize she was furious. I can only assume that she read my mind, as I have a little bit of a headache. If she knew what was going on, wouldn't she have come back to get Kara? I don't know if Dad or Beta James would have let her go. Beta James might have been mad enough to give her back, once he knew she didn't have a wolf. I had seen a picture of Sayers before. There was one in my office, in one of the bottom drawers. My father was scared to death of her, and he showed me her picture back when he was an alpha. He told me she would never return, so why is she here now? I have to admit, when she picked us all up like it was nothing, I'm not going to lie, it was scary. But when she asked any last words, that really increased my fear. Where is she taking us? Does she plan on killing us? I didn't tell Michaela that we were coming back here. I was scared she would tell her father to gain his favor again. They won't even know we did because the council members kept telling us we should move on. To let it go. That returning here would be considered an act of war. This was really pissing me off. This crazy peach could end us, and no one would know that they needed to pin it on Blackadder. They might get off scot-free on this. How messed up was that? I wished I had sent out a text or something to someone. But, honestly, the least number of people who knew what we were doing was best at the time. It was not quite legal, and the council had warned us. Goddess, why didn't I just listen to what they said? I had to listen to Clay and Rex continually peeshing about how I refused to let go of the girl I wanted, yet they had lost both of theirs. They needed to stop crying about it. I was the alpha, not them. They could make do with someone else. But I refused to leave here without Kara. That is what I was doing when I got caught. How did they manage to find her mother? Why would my father and Beta James be so sure she wouldn't return? Somebody lied to me. So, nothing to say. Sayers said to me with a smirk, She was looking right at me. She knew what I wanted to say. Might as well give her what she wants. This isn't over with. I will come back for Kara, I replied. Oh, I highly doubt that, Paxton, but it's always nice to have dreams, she remarked with an even bigger smirk. I was told you were dead. Where did you come from? I asked. I needed to know. I have been patiently waiting for this moment for the last 21 years. Kara just happened to be given a letter I sent her. Once, I was told that James had been locked away from her all these years. As soon as she opened it, I could pinpoint her location. You see, Paxton, I was forced to make a deal with James. He would keep Kara safe and sound. He promised to love and take care of her. I promised that I would stay away and leave his family alone. He didn't keep up his side of the deal. I am so angry right now. I want to go and level your pack. Punish everyone who hurt my daughter, but I will wait. You are a terrible alpha. Your chosen is even worse than you. You too will personally destroy the pack without my help. But I will come one day, and you will feel my vengeance. Kara will have justice for what the Kamaria pack did to her, Sayre stated. She held the three of us up in the air all together. She turned towards the group gathered in front of the two SUVs and said, I'll be right back for my daughter. The next thing we knew, we were in front of my pack. It was literally the blink of an eye. I felt dread in my stomach as I looked at Sayre. She is much more powerful than I was led to believe. She was watching us all carefully. I knew she was sizing us up. She waited a minute or two in silence before she spoke. I want you all to have fair warning. I will be training Kara. She needs to learn how to control her powers. I want you three to realize something. She could very well end up being more powerful than I am. Let's think about that for a moment, shall we? You need to make some sweeping changes here. You three are some of the worst wolves I have ever come across. You think about yourselves first instead of the pack. You have sworn to protect them, but all you do is chase after she-wolves. You are absolutely disgusting, Sayre told us. I just got here. You can't attack my character like that, Clay retorted. He was bold until she fixed her eyes on him. Beta Clay, how can you stand there and say that? Are you not aware that I know exactly who put my daughter into that hospital? She hasn't mentioned it yet, but I can read minds. I know you hurt her. You almost killed her. Do you know what would have happened to you if you had killed my only child? I would have peeled your skin off of you. Let me assure you it is incredibly painful, but it won't kill you. You will suffer and heal, and I will do it repeatedly. You will wish for death, but I will not grant it. You need to be thankful that her mate sent her immediately to the hospital for treatment. Very thankful indeed, Sayre responded to him. I couldn't hold back my own shudder at her words. She spoke so calmly about it. It was scary. I am sorry, but she had broken into my home. Clay started to say. I know exactly what you were about to attempt to do to my daughter. That was the other reason for the punishment. You might fool your alpha, but you are not fooling me. I know what you were planning to do, Sayre interrupted. She is the second person to mention that Clay would do something bad to Kara. I need to talk to him about this. Sayers is furious with him, and Alexei was too. They both can't be wrong about this. Clay is nervous and fearful. It was a clear admission of guilt. Don't condemn him too quickly there, Alpha. I saw what you did, too. I want you to take your own advice. This isn't over. Did you honestly think you would be able to outrun punishment for what you have done to her? Don't strain yourselves trying to figure that one out. Spoiler alert, I don't think you will. I can promise you that you three will get exactly what you deserve. One day, Kara and I might return here for a nice little reunion with our old pack mates. I think it would be a good opportunity to dole out some justice. Kara knows who her worst enemies are. I will be here to help her get what she needs for closure, Sayers told us. We can change, we can do better. I knew that we were not good to Kara. I will address the pack, and we can make the changes we need to make to the pack, I told her. I can't see you succeeding with it, Paxton, but you can try. Oh, yes, I almost forgot. Let me get you guys back home, Sayers told us. My stomach dropped. We were at the top of a hill, just outside my pack. I knew this peesh wasn't going to let us off scot-free. With a flick of her hand, we started tumbling down the hill at a high speed. We were near the side of the packland and seemed to hit every rock, stick, and stone we encountered on the way down the hill. It was a steep hill, and we rolled until we hit the runoff drain next to the wall. We were covered in blood, with our clothes torn and ripped from falling down the slope. I could feel a broken bone in my arm. Rex was complaining about his hand hurting. Clay cried out when he tried to stand up. He was the worst off of any of us. It was obvious that his leg was broken. I linked Rex's father, Devon, to get a team together to take us to the hospital for treatment. My head hurt, and blood was running down my face and into my eye. I can feel a gash in my head. That peesh just tried to kill us. I am furious and ready to kill her when I hear her laugh sound from the top of the hill. You are not the first to come up with that idea, Paxton. Better men than you have tried, but I welcome your attempt. I will have to come up with something even better than what I have planned for Clay for your punishment, Sayers told me before disappearing. Goddess, my head hurts. I need to figure out how to kill that witch. I need to figure out where she is going to take Kara. She said she would return there to get Kara when we left Blackadder. Where is she going to take her? Kara's POV. Was released from the hospital the following day. My leg feels much better than it did. It was hard to put weight on it, but the doctor was going to give me crutches to help me walk until I regained full strength. My mother just rolled her eyes after he left the room and said, "I'll take care of it." The doctor had already left to get the crutches for me, and in the 3 minutes he was gone, I was completely healed. My mother had me lay back down on my bed, and she spoke over my leg. It got warm when her hands touched my injury, but once she was done, there was no sign of me even having been hurt. There were no puncture wounds where Clay dug his claws in, and no scarring was left behind on my skin. The doctor was just as impressed as I was when he saw it. Alexei had to leave earlier this morning to take care of something in his coven. I knew he wanted to be with me, but he had been by my side since I arrived. I knew that he needed to deal with the paperwork that had piled up. He had told me about the businesses that he owns with his brother. Alexei is the CEO and handles the majority of the bookwork. He had put it off as long as he could. He seemed upset that he couldn't go with me, but I assured him that my mother and sisters would take care of me. My mother had a quick meeting with Jackson and Kevin this morning. So Robert was escorting me out to the training area where my sisters were. My mother had received permission to have me train out there. I thought I would have a rest day or a day where we could sit and get to know each other better. That didn't happen. My mother had told me, "You need to be trained as quickly as possible. That alpha will not give up on trying to get you back. You have to learn how to protect yourself first. You need to learn defense and then offense. I will not lose you again, Kara. It would break my heart." Brenna was training out on the field with Luna, sparring with each other. They didn't know anyone here yet, and Jackson wanted to introduce her to the pack before she started officially training. I think it was more to warn all the males away from Brenna, but I was glad that she had a good mate. Correction, both my sisters had a good mate. My sisters told me to find them when I was discharged from the hospital. They wanted to support me when I trained. I knew that they were still worried about me. I know Luna was worried about leaving us both and going to the Black Moon Pack. Whatever time we can have together before she has to leave I will gladly accept. As we neared the training field, we passed a group of young women watching Luna and Brenna spar. I am telling you that she is not qualified to be our Luna. She is still a rogue. She doesn't belong here in Blackadder, one of the she-wolves said. You know their sister is a witch. I heard it from my friend who works at the hospital. I know for a fact that is how they both got alpha mates. What are the odds that both sisters became Luna? It is impossible. I'm calling it nonsense. It has to be because their sister put spells on them both. I swear we can't let them get away with it. They are both sluts trying to get an alpha mate. We cannot let them succeed. We will have to do something before it goes too far, another she-wolf replied. I stopped short at hearing the lies they were spewing and turned around to look at the two culprits. The other women nodded in agreement with them, which was bad enough. I know for a fact that what these two she-wolves were saying was a punishable offense. Before it goes too far? They are both fully marked and mated. It is done. Why are you out here bad-mouthing your Luna? I asked. That's the witch, one of the she-wolves murmured in disdain to the others. This was a private conversation. It is none of your business, the one that just alleged I had cast a spell on the alphas replied. They are my sisters, so I'm afraid that it is my business. How dare you say that a spell was cast on either of them? They are true mates. No spell was needed, as the goddess herself was the one who put them all together, I responded. You don't have to be ashamed that you got called out. We know you did it for them. You can admit that you did it as a favor for your sisters. I mean, it is what your kind does, she fired back. Well, if you knew that I was a witch, then you should know I was sent to the hospital immediately after arriving here. I didn't wake up until the following morning. Jackson found Brenna while I was still in surgery. I haven't learned any powers yet, so I can assure you that your wishful thinking is erroneous. I would think that you would be happy that your alpha has finally found his true mate. You should be happy for him, but I sense you aren't. You had to have known that it wasn't any of you, right? I replied. No one invited you to speak, so out. Why would we believe anything you say? Of course, you would want us all to think she was his mate. That is to make the pack fall for it. They might, but we won't. Just know that none of us will ever believe your lies. Everyone wants an alpha, so stop playing innocent. You can go to your sisters. I don't know how you can stand there and claim you are even sisters with them. They're wolves, and you aren't. No offense, it just seems suspicious, as you don't look anything like them, the second girl spoke up. Kara, are you okay? I heard Brenna speak from behind me. Brenna and Luna had walked over to check on me. As sisters, we are attuned to each other in a deeper way. We can always tell when one of us needs help. In this case, I didn't necessarily need help, as much as these girls were pissing me off with their allegations. These girls were talking crap about you too, I replied, turning back to look at the group of girls. I won't have the same stuff that happened at Kamaria happen here. This was our fresh start. I can understand these jealous she-wolves, but they need to get over it. Both Brenna and Luna have found their true mates. What were they saying? Brenna asked with interest. None of your business, Peesh. Again, it was a private conversation that she eavesdropped on. Besides, it isn't official. You are not the Luna just yet. There has been no formal announcement, nor has a Luna ceremony been completed. Things can change once the spell you have on him wears off, the first girl stated. Oh, so you think that Kara spelled him to make him think I was his mate? Brenna asked with a smirk. I don't think it. I know it. He hadn't found his mate, and he had searched for her for years. I highly doubt that it would be a dirty rouge when he did find her. It is impossible. I refuse to believe it. No one wants you here. You should do the right thing and leave. As a matter of fact, all three of you can leave. No one wants another witch to live here at Blackadder. At least the other one stays to herself and doesn't parade around the pack like she is something special, the second girl added. I turned towards Brenna, pretty much what she just said. That I had put a spell on Jackson to cause him to think that you and he were mates. That he is not thinking clearly because of it and you are not qualified to be Luna here. They were already talking before I got to them. These two were doing the talking, but the other two were in agreement with what they said, I told her. I then pointed out the two who were telling lies about her. We just left our former pack to come here to find a safe place to live. But we are all born of a beta father. So don't tell me that we do not belong here or that we are dirty rogues. It has only been 2 days since we left our former pack. We aren't even scented as rogues yet. Kara is our sister, no matter what you think. Let me assure you that if you have a problem with one of us, you have a problem with all of us. If you are so much better than us, care to put your money where your mouth is? I haven't had a good sparring match in a while. Since you are so much better than us, please feel free to show us, Brenna responded. You don't have any authority here. You can't force us to spar with you, no one is here to call the match. You have a witch on your side. How can we possibly win? When you can use their power to beat us, the first girl huffed out. She was shocked that we would even suggest it. I will call it, Robert announced to the shocked group of girls. No, we are not going to fight you. Not without knowing how much you have trained. You are beta wolves, and my father is only a warrior. That doesn't sound like a fair match to me, the second girl said. They started looking around for a way to leave. You can fight us 2-1. You can pick one of your friends here to fight along with you. They seem to share your views about us, so you might as well use them to defeat us. Surely 2 she-wolves against 1 is fair to you ladies? You all train, right? Our sister can't help us. She has never learned to use her powers, so you are safe now. Don't use the fact that you are scared to fight us to try to get out of the fight. I heard that this pack is very serious about training. Was that all a lie? You 4 should have been training here for several years. Your balking seems to be a cop-out. You are either strong fighters, or you aren't. Which is it? Luna stated with her hands on her hips. Luna might be the youngest of all of us, but she is just as strong a fighter as Brenna is. It usually takes longer to get her angry, but she is explosive once she gets there. I refuse to fight, the first girl stated vehemently. What if you don't have a choice? Jackson's voice sounded out behind them, causing each of them to jump in fright. Brenna's POV a few minutes ago, I saw Sayers appear with Jackson and Kevin with her. Luna and I were the only ones facing them, so the rest of the group was unaware that it was not just us there anymore. Jackson heard some of what they were saying to us and was angry, very angry. At the sound of his voice, they all whirled around to look at him in surprise. I think that is the least amount of punishment you can get for what you just said about your Luna, Jackson's voice rang out from behind. We didn't say anything wrong. We were only concerned about you being spelled. Is it wrong for us to be worried about our alpha and our pack? The first one spoke. Corey, it isn't wrong to be concerned for your alpha and pack, but you went much further than that, didn't you? From what I heard, you were attacking your Luna. You were definitely slandering her, Jackson asked her. We are entitled to our opinions. They are rogues, and we do not trust them. They do not belong here and have clearly done something to you and Alpha Kevin. Have you ever heard of sisters getting alpha mates? It is unheard of unless some dark magic is involved, the second girl spat out angrily. She had no shame about what she had just said about us. The fact that she glared at Kara and her mother was not missed by any of us. Lena, as angry as you and your friends are over me finding my mate, you are wrong. Brenna is my goddess-given mate. Luna is Kevin's goddess-given mate. There was no spell involved in it. None of these women has done anything wrong to be met with the vicious words that you are spewing, Jackson replied. We didn't say anything wrong, Lena replied to Jackson, folding her arms across her chest in defiance. She was not backing down. You did say something wrong, and you clearly forgot that Robert was here with Kara. He heard you talking. He heard what you said well before Kara did. You just got confronted sooner about it, as Kara wasn't going to listen to you all talk about her sisters and let it go. She stepped up before Robert could and was right to confront you. I think Luna's suggestion about 2 of you against 1 will sort this out. They are right. You 4 have been training here for a long time. You should be able to stand your ground against 1 foe at least, Jackson replied. But we didn't say anything at all. We were just standing here, one of the other girls piped up. The fourth girl nodded at her words because they hadn't spoken out against anyone. You two agreed with what they were saying. You didn't attempt to defend your Luna from your friends. Don't try to back out of it now that you have all been caught. You were just as much at fault despite not slandering them yourself. Brenna is my mate, my Luna. You all know better than to spread rumors or lies about her, Jackson told her. Who wants to go first? Luna asked as she started walking backward towards the sparring circle. I think we should split them up with one who spoke and one who agreed with what she said. I am sure the ones talking crap about it are better fighters than the other two. That should make it fair, I replied. I agree, Jackson said, taking a spot near the circle to watch. I don't want to fight. She could have any disease on her as she is a rogue. She could make me sick from fighting against her. Lena tried to beg off again. Oh, I am definitely fighting her, I called out to Luna. Don't worry, I'll go easy on you. I can tell that you aren't the fighters we heard rumors about, Luna told Corey, who, as predicted, got furious at being called out. Corey grabbed the hand of one of the other girls and stepped toward the sparring circle. I don't want to fight. I just agreed with them being rogues because they are, the second she-wolf pleaded. She was scared and wanted out of the fight. You need to choose better friends, Luna told her before motioning them to come closer. They refused to move closer to the circle's center, and Luna looked over at Brenna with a smile. They already knew they were not going to fight. The fear radiating off of them was strong. They were scared to death. That is impossible if they were being trained at all. They sat down on the ground in the sparring circle and refused to fight. Even if they weren't embarrassed by their behavior, we were. They were the ones who started this. They got called out and then refused to fight. I mean, I could do much worse to them. Weeks in the cells or banishment from the pack. They would heal from a fight quickly. It was the easiest punishment of all. Yet they refused. Jackson, are these she-wolves counted in with the fierce fighters that we have heard so much about? Luna asked in surprise, motioning at the two she-wolves sitting on the ground. No, we only count the warriors in that. They are Omegas, and Lena is the daughter of a warrior. They should have been training, at least minimally, for the last several years. However, they would not be included in the in-depth training that the warriors undergo. After the battle 5 years ago, the Omegas weren't made to train anymore, as the main threat had passed. We need to make some serious changes concerning their training. I don't oversee their training. That is Lena's father, Eddie Donaldson. He is supposed to be training them. I can see that we need to reorganize and restructure the training. Where they are at is nowhere near where they need to be. They can't even defend themselves right now, Jackson replied. We are not meant to fight. We are only meant to help protect the women and children in case the safe room is breached, Corey announced. If the attacking pack manages to get to the safe room, you will all die. You need to be able to protect yourself at the very least, but you cannot even do that. This is a serious problem. I guess I need to come and see how you are being trained, Jackson replied. I can see the delight in their eyes at hearing that he will come and help train them. That is not going to happen. No, I can do it, Jackson. I used to run the women's and children's training at my old pack. They are a little too happy at getting a chance to see you training them. I don't want them anywhere near you. I can't trust them around you at all. They have made their stance clear. I will deal with the Omegas being trained, I told him. I refuse to be trained by you. You aren't even a part of this pack. I won't do it, Lena said with a smirk. That is fine. Then you can go home and tell your parents that you have 2 hours to pack and get out of Blackadder, Jackson replied coldly. You wouldn't really kick us out over her, would you? Lena asked in fear. She had overestimated how valuable her father was to Jackson. Once she was called on it, she didn't want to play anymore. I would, and I just did. It was your decision. If you want to leave, instead of respecting your Luna, then leave, Jackson told her. I don't want to leave. Alpha Jackson, we are not the only ones who feel this way. Several people also share our views, Lena tried again. She was scared and pulled everyone else into it with her, but Jackson did not back down. Are you going to make us fight? Lena asked, her fear evident in her voice. Yes, it is your punishment for lying about the Luna. I am going to allow you to train first. I think you should be whipped into shape in 6 weeks. You will fight in 6 weeks. It will happen no matter what, even if you drag your feet on it. It will hopefully teach you to stop spreading lies. You knew they were lies when you said them. You 4 can thank Brenna and her sister for not forcing you to do it today. You would have lost, and very badly from the looks of it today. I could feel your fear. Let it be a lesson to you. Stop talking badly about others. I know this isn't the first time you have done it. I will not allow it to happen in the pack. You know my mother hates bullying with a passion. There is no excuse at all for it, Jackson replied. We didn't lie. She is a rogue, Lena quickly defended. We will straighten this out tonight at the town hall. I will make sure that everyone here understands my stance on the matter. You all 4 need to be there. Oh, and be sure to have all your friends who support your opinions sitting with you. I would like to see who I need to watch out for in the future. You either show up for it, or I will send the warriors to bring you there myself, Jackson told them. The fear in their eyes was brief before anger took back over when they looked over at me. They wanted me dead. Thankfully they were not strong enough to pull it off by themselves. Amazingly, they are blaming me for this when they were the ones who started it. I wanted to ask what else they said, but I am pretty sure they just called me names. I am already used to that kind of petty behavior. I didn't need to know what they said. Jackson wrapped his arm around me before pulling me in for a hug. This isn't my first time dealing with jealous she-wolves. I know this won't be the last time it happens. It comes with the territory when you have a mate as handsome as mine. But I will deal with them just like I dealt with the others. When it comes time for them to confront me again, I will deal with the mouthy ones first. The others will run away, just like they always do. Sayre's POV. I knew we needed to get Kara's training started quickly. Rumors always flew through a pack. I hated the fact that Kara had admitted that she hadn't been trained yet. I knew why she did it. She was defending her sisters. She was a good sister and hated that they were spreading malicious rumors. But it left her vulnerable against them. They all knew that to hurt Brenna and Luna, they should just hurt Kara. That wasn't a good spot to be in at the moment. Those girls were furious. They wanted to get Brenna and Luna back, and it would be a short time before they figured out how to do just that. I will not leave her alone for any reason for the next week. I will also be telling Alexei what happened when he came to our home tonight. I have already spelled my home so that she will be safe in there, but if she were to leave with me or him, she would be fair game to these vicious she-wolves. They would not fight one-on-one, they would all come after her and then dispose of her body. If that were to happen, I would make them sorry, but it wouldn't bring my daughter back. So I hope that Kara is ready to work because we are not leaving training today until she can protect herself. I needed to let her know why we would have to train hard. She needs to understand why she must never say anything like that again. I hate to do it, as we are just building our relationship, but it has to be done. Kara, I know why you felt the pressure to tell them that you were not trained yet. You were defending your sisters against their lies, but you have placed yourself in a dangerous position. They want to hurt your sisters, but your sisters can take care of themselves. What do you think will happen when they figure out that the best way to hurt your sisters is to hurt you? It would hurt your sisters very badly for them to know that you had been hurt, to get back at them. I need you to pay close attention to what I will teach you today. You need to learn to protect yourself very quickly. You are the weakest link, and you need to protect yourself. I am not saying this to scare you. But I want to warn you that some people carry evil in their hearts. Those girls are not good at all. They carry darkness in them. They would not hesitate to try to cause your sisters or yourself a great deal of suffering to get what they want. Do you understand what I am saying? I asked her. I am sorry. I have spent my whole life assuring my former pack that I was not a witch. Telling them that I didn't have any power in me so that they would leave me alone. I can feel it now that you have unbound me, but I don't know how to use it. I was just so used to saying it. I know I messed up. I am not scared of hard work. I will not allow myself to be alone with any of them. I promise. I know they cannot be trusted. I could feel it, Kara replied. I am not mad at you. I am just worried. We will go to the town hall tonight. We need to pay special attention to who those girls sit with and remember them. You will need to look out for all of them. The instigators will not be the ones to come to lure you away. They will send someone else, someone that you do not know, to get you away from us. I worry because I won't do well to lose you again. I would make everyone involved with it suffer greatly before I allowed them to die. So this is very serious. I need you to focus on what I am telling you. You were born to do this. I promise you that it will come naturally to you if you trust me and do what I tell you to do. One day soon, you will have to protect yourself. I won't be there to save you, and I will need for you to save yourself. Can you do that, Kara? I asked her. Yes, I can do that, Mother, Kara softly replied. I tried, and failed, to suppress how much it meant to hear her call me mother again. I had to stop and pull her into my arms. Brenna, Luna, and Robert walked up behind us as I let her go. Kevin and Jackson had gone back to the pack house to finish their meeting. I was so happy to hear her call me mother. 21 years in the making, but she showed me that she completely trusted me. I was glad to finally be able to teach my daughter what she needed to know to protect herself. I had walked to the edge of the training grounds. The woods were about 50 feet to my left, and the expanse of the training grounds was to my right now. I didn't want any prying eyes on us, so I created a dome over us. An illusion that allowed us to look out of the dome, but no one outside of the dome could see us anymore. It was about 100 feet long and 50 feet across, as we needed room to work. They would just see the woods if they looked this way. I didn't want anyone to learn my daughter's gifts. Knowledge is power, and I will give no hint to someone who might wish ill will towards her. Not on my watch. I had a small seating area on both sides of the dome. Robert took one side with his back to the woods, and Brenna and Luna took the other side with their backs to the training grounds. They seemed to know what I was doing without me having to say it. I knew that we would be drawing in the curious sooner or later. I would only allow a few trusted people into our training. Kara, the first thing you need to learn is how to protect yourself. You need to learn to make up a dome around you, not a big one like I just created, but a smaller one. One that can keep you safe from harm. Think of it as a safety bubble of sorts. Big enough to cover yourself or even include your sisters. There may be a day when you need to protect all three of you from a potential attack. Just stay calm and feel your connection to the earth. The Earth Mother will always protect you. She has helped each one of the strong women who came before us, granting powers that she willingly shares with us. She is just one part of us, but she holds great power in her hand. Always be thankful to her for her gifts because they can be taken away if you don't appreciate them. Those who do black magic believe that they are more powerful than she is, but they are wrong. They have to make do with what is left of their power. Take your shoes off, Kara. Stand in the grass. Tell me if you can feel her power, I told her. I watched as Kara took her sandals off and stood on the grass. I knew at the moment the connection hit her. I felt it as well, as the Earth Mother accepted Kara as one of her own. Our line is a direct descendant of her as her daughter fell in love with a human and stayed behind on Earth to live out her days. They lived out hundreds of years together, creating the line that we came from. The Earth Mother is also called Earth Goddess, Mother Nature, and Mother Earth. She existed and was worshipped at one time. She still welcomes her children into her fold. She is not the only source of our powers, but she was the beginning of our powers. I needed to explain to Kara just how strong she really is. Right now, she doesn't understand her full potential. A few hundred years ago, a strong warlock fell in love with your great-grandmother. His power was added to our line, and we grew even stronger then. People started to hunt us. They wanted to try to get control of our powers. It was why I was living alone in the woods when your father found me. I had always dreamed of a love that would sweep me off my feet. I guess it was naive of me to think that it was him. He poured attention on me until I fell in love with him. I wish I had looked into his thoughts. He didn't love me. He just desired me. He loved how I looked and had given up on finding his true mate. He felt my strength and wanted strong pups. I should never have fallen for it. I should have taken you with me. All I could do was leave the letter for you and pray that James would give it to you one day. I am just glad that it finally ended up in your hands. Now, you need to focus. I need you to place a buffer between you and me, Kara. Focus on blocking me and whatever I send your way, I told her. I could feel her attempting to raise a shield between us, but it barely formed. I need to take it up a notch. She needs to be worried about if it connects. She will not fear as much for herself, as much as she would fear for one of her sisters. I will have her complete attention on me now as I increase the difficulty substantially. I needed her to focus on making the barrier strong because I would test it. You don't get to be strong until you learn how to use all of your powers. Kara must learn to use all her powers, starting with her own protection. Kara, I know that you are trying, but keep going. Make it stronger. What if I threw a fireball at you? Would you be able to block it? We need to up the threat. Brenna, would you come and stand next to Kara? Kara, pay more attention. Your sister's safety is in your hands now. Concentrate, feel the wall going up between us. Feel it surrounding you, protecting you. Make it strong, Kara, so neither you nor Brenna gets hurt. I am about to attack. Protect yourself, protect Brenna, I called over to her. I could feel her working on it, but it wasn't where it should be yet. I have to show her I won't take it easy on her. Either she forms a barrier, or this is about to go very badly. I formed an ice arrow in my hand. It was about 3 feet long and had a serious point on it. If it gets through and connects, one of them is definitely going to be hurt. I held it in my hand to let Karen know I was serious about the threat I posed. I could feel her fear increase before I drew back and let it fly. It headed straight towards them. I can see that Brenna is nervous. She should be, as she cannot see anything in front of them to protect them. I suddenly felt a surge of power explode from Kara a moment before the ice arrow struck. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.